Today we're going to deep dive into one of the most haunting characters of Girl Interrupted, Daisy Randone. Hello world, and welcome to Cinema Nostalgica, where we break down nostalgic hidden gems. Specifically, we'll be comparing how Daisy is portrayed in Susanna Kayson's memoir versus how she's brought to life in the 1999 film adaptation played by Brittany Murphy. And I do want to mention that allegedly, Susanna Kayson wrote her memoir based on the real people she met at McLean Hospital. If you haven't already, please check out my video on The Real Lisa Rowe, where I go more into details about this. And in my opinion, I do believe that Daisy and the details of her story are based on true events. Let's begin with how Daisy Randone is portrayed in the book. There is a chapter called If You Lived Here, You'd Be Happy Now, and it gives us some more insight into Daisy's mindset, her apartment, and her relationship with her father. It's portrayed in the book that Daisy was never a full-time resident at the mental hospital. Her stays were described as quote-unquote seasonal events. She'd show up before Thanksgiving and stay throughout Christmas and then leave shortly after that. Sometimes she would return again for her birthday in May. She's always had a private room, which we can assume is paid for with extra money, and the nurses would have to shuffle patients around, even doubling them up to accommodate Daisy. She made her presence known both in space and in behavior. Daisy had two main passions in life: laxatives and chicken. She chain-smoked cigarettes and constantly demanded X-Lax from the nurses. If someone stood close to her, she'll step on their toes or their feet or just shove them aside. She hated to be touched and hated people to be near her. Her demands also weren't really polite. At the nurses and patients, she frequently barked out requests and demands. In the book, we specifically see Daisy bark out demands towards Lisa, demanding cigarettes, never saying please or thank you. Lisa smoked cool cigarettes, and Daisy, she would mention under her breath, "These are lousy cigarettes." So she was very judgmental, and from the book, it does even see that she may have had a leg up on Lisa. I know in the film it shows that Lisa ran everything, that she was very demanding and bossy towards Daisy, but in the book, we see it in another light, where Daisy will walk up to her, call her a bitch without being provoked, and demanding that she give her one of her cigarettes, in which Lisa normally always obliged. In the movie, Daisy is the one being bullied, and Lisa is being vicious and cruel. But in the book, things play out very differently. Daisy is not depicted as vulnerable in the same type of way. In fact, she often comes off as the bully. She's demanding, cold, and even physically aggressive, as she shoves people out of her way, barks orders for cigarettes and medicine, and shows little interest in bonding with anyone. Her father played a deeply disturbing role in her life. Every visit, he brought her a whole roasted chicken, prepared by her mother, and it was wrapped in aluminum foil. In the movie, it's shown that Daisy's dad works for a deli around the corner. Daisy wouldn't eat the chicken until he left. Instead, she'd fondle it through the foil while he was there, a ritual that disturbed everyone. In the book, it's shown that he never wanted to leave. He always wanted to be around and was saddened when he had to leave. But Daisy was always ready to eat the chicken. And I could just see a girl that's just anxiously wanting to get to the chicken, but just waiting and waiting for her father to leave. And it makes me think, did she only want the chicken and not the affection from her father? This is portrayed totally different in the movie. In the movie, Lisa really lashes out and even says things under the lines of she is having inappropriate relationships with her father and she likes it. But in the book, I don't know, I see something a little different. She didn't want her father around, she just wanted the chicken so she can eat it, and was anxiously waiting for him to leave. In the memoir, it's quoted, Lisa said bluntly, her dad wants to her just to make sure she's real. And while harsh, the line captures the unsettling undertone of their relationship, whether that be true or false. And this quote really stands out to me. It's like he birthed this majestic child and he was just in total awe of her, even though she was clearly in a mental hospital for some serious mental issues. And it's from this where we don't even know what's real and what's fake. Was he infatuated with her? Was he having inappropriate relations? It's not so clear-cut in the memoir as it is portrayed in the film. Lisa taunts her, corners her emotionally, and delivers a final venomous monologue about Daisy's relationship with her father, a scene that plays a pivotal role in Daisy's downward spiral. The film never directly confirms Lisa's claims that Daisy is being essayed by her dad. When Lisa accuses Daisy, Daisy doesn't deny it. She doesn't shut it down. The implication lingers in the air like a poison that infects Daisy's storyline. The moment is brutal and unforgettable. And the film heavily implies that it might be true. Not only that it happened, but that Daisy is trapped in a web of denial and even misplaced affection for her abuser. But it comes off as more as Lisa's usual provocation than a clear revelation. There's no real evidence of sexual abuse in the book, and we don't really truly know what Daisy is a victim of. Just imagine if he just loves his daughter, that he's a supportive father, bringing in her favorite meal prepared for by her mother, and there's a liar spreading salacious rumors about their relationship. Again, we do not know what is true and what is false, but here is just another angle we need to consider. In the memoir, Daisy was described as sexy, something surprisingly when compared to how Brittany Murphy portrayed her in the film. Honestly, I wouldn't really describe her as sexy. More like nervous and on edge. In the book, she wore tank tops and shorts and swayed her hips in deliberate half circles. Despite her odd smell, which was noted by Georgina that she does stink, she smells like shit and chicken, other patients found her strangely magnetic. She didn't care to make friends, but she drew in fascination nonetheless. Patients were enthralled by her. Even Susanna Kaysen says that she was sexy, so she was obviously very attractive, and there were so many patients in the ward that wanted to be her friend, wanted to be close to her, and even understand her. And that is very differently portrayed in the film. In the film, we see that patients don't even want to talk to her or be close to her. They just want to try to figure her out. But her attractiveness doesn't fully come through in the film. Let's go ahead and talk about Daisy's room. In the memoir, and also in the film, no one had ever entered Daisy's private room. Lisa became obsessed with going into Daisy's room. She was fixated on it and made it her mission to get in. So, she devised a plan, lied to the nurses to get 6 X-Lac pills. She made her way to Daisy's room and knocked on the door. She used this as a bribe and a barter to get information from Daisy. What is different in the book and the film in this situation is that in the memoir, Lisa took this journey on her own. Susanna wasn't there. Lisa didn't barge in after Susanna. This was a solo mission. So Lisa got the X-Lacs, knocked on Daisy's door, and after Daisy accepted the barter, she let Lisa in. It's at this time when Daisy told Lisa about herself. She mentioned the chicken, her methodic ways of eating the chicken, which is peeling the skin and the meat from the bones, keeping the carcasses intact. She also explained to Lisa that when she got up to a certain number, the nurses made her throw it away. So as we can see, this is exactly what happened in the film, but Susanna was not there to witness it. Her need for laxatives, it seems, stemmed from this obsession with chicken consumption. Her grotesque habits like hoarding chicken and obsessing over laxatives tells us that she may have some qualities of being vain, that she has an eating disorder, and self-esteem issues. Her room reeks of rotisserie chickens and shame. She hoards the carcasses, stacking them in a grotesque display of ritual and decay. Unlike the calculated coldness we see in the book, in the movie, Daisy spirals openly and desperately. But these symptoms uncover a much deeper sickness. She's no longer the mysterious, seductive figure glimpsed through a locked door, as seen in the memoir, but rather a much tragic one, unraveling before our eyes. She doesn't defend herself much. She internalizes Lisa's words and breaks under them. One Christmas, her father gave her an apartment. During this time, the real Lisa mockingly called it a quote-unquote love nest. After Daisy heard the news from her father, Daisy would hang around common areas afterwards, way more frequently than she used to. It's like she was just waiting for someone to ask her about the apartment or what her plans were. When Georgiana finally took the bait and asked Daisy about her apartment, Daisy casually described it as 1 bedroom, L-shaped, eaten chicken, end quote. After this, Daisy left the hospital shortly after, and 5 months later, she was dead, having taken her own life. When the nurse reported the news to the patients, there were so many questions to be asked, but Lisa asked one specific question. She did it on her birthday, didn't she? In which the nurse nodded yes. The nurse never informed the patients how she did it. Her suicide is no longer a one-off page or implied. In the movie, it is graphic and final. We see that she is in the bathroom of her lovely apartment that she was so proud to have. The film chooses to show us the full horror of Daisy's internal collapse. In the film adaptation of Girl Interrupted, Daisy is played hauntingly by Brittany Murphy. And Brittany Murphy's own death, and even all of the characters that she's portrayed in her life, is held under scrutiny and under a close microscope. Daisy's life and diagnosis is a mystery, and the ambiguity, as much as with Daisy's life, just left a hollow silence behind. Her obsession with chicken and laxatives is methodical, but not chaotic. She's described as sexy and self-possessed, but not broken. So while the movie Daisy is fragile, grotesque, and tragically self-destructive, the book's Daisy is more mysterious, way more controlled on the surface of what people see and how people perceive her, but very much still obsessive underneath, and possibly more dangerous than anyone gives her credit for. In my opinion, she's probably more dangerous than Lisa, and had more of a presence in the ward than Lisa as well. One version of Daisy asks for your sympathy, while the other Daisy dares you to look closer and wonder what's really going on in that locked room. Daisy Randone is the kind of character who lingers in your mind long after the chapter ends or the movie is over. Whether it's the eerie descriptions in the book or Brittany Murphy's gut-wrenching performance in the film, Daisy represents the painful intersection of control, trauma, and identity. The difference between the two versions isn't just in the details, it's in how they make you feel. The book leaves you unsettled, crawling with discomfort. The movie leaves you heartbroken. And maybe in the end, both are true to Daisy. But who she really was is a girl who never truly made it out of her sickness. What's unfortunate is Daisy was locked into a web of depression and despair, trapped by her obsessions and rituals, whether that was self or externally provoked. But it's important that, from what I've gathered from Susanna's memoir and her interviews, Daisy was a real person. She was a real patient in the ward, and she wasn't a fictional character just made up by Susanna. I do truly believe that Susanna wrote about everyone in the book based on who they really were as a patient and interactions she had with real people. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it to the end of this video. Please consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel, especially if you like deep dives like this one. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.